Town beaten by Oxford last night, 2-1. This is Talking Town. We're here to break it down. We've got likes, dislikes, probably a lot of dislikes, let's be honest. We've got our voice messaging service and we've got our Town and 60, including the flashpoints. It's Talking Town, it's live, and it's right now.
Sound right, boy.
Hello again, friends, and you are my friends. Welcome to Talking Town. I'm your host, the Gov. Thank you for being with us this Saturday evening, or if you're on catch up, thank you for selecting the video and giving us a look. Don't forget to like, subscribe for your town news, fan opinion, and more. And there's plenty of that. There was lots of it last night following a really disappointing night. I've titled this show, "This is Not Acceptable." Oxford 2, Ipswich 1, and we're here to break it down with these two gentlemen, but also you, the live audience, or our catch-up audience. Get your opinions, get your thoughts, get your feelings into the chat, and we'll get as many as we can on the show, and we'll try and build the conversation around what you want to talk about. Stuart says, thoroughly depressing weekend incoming, not helped much by today's results. I haven't even looked. I haven't even bothered to look. I'm still sick to my stomach from last night. Bordering angry. I don't often get angry. I try and keep it on a lead. I try and keep it on a level, but shocking is where I'm going to go with that. Let's start with our, as we always do on these Talking Town shows, our Town in 60 seconds. It's very simple. I'm going to ask both of these gentlemen to give me their town reaction in 60 seconds. Keep it to the clock, gentlemen. Keep it under 60. We're going to break it down as we go. I'll start with you, Lee, as apparently I always start with Matt. So I'm going to start with you. Lee, 60 seconds are yours. Take it away, my friend.
Stuff Friday nights when you get beat. I've had it. My whole weekend's been ruined because of Friday night football. At least if you get beat on a Saturday, at least you've only got half the weekend to be grouchy about. Ruined my complete weekend. As for the game, two individual errors. I'm sure we'll come on to them. Really disappointed in that, you know, we've conceded. We've got this mantra of the way we play, and it's cost us both goals. Particularly, the first goal is obvious, but Leif Davis gets back in position, but because he's been asked to play a certain position, he's struggling to get back on the counter-attack. And we've been undone by a well-organised, fair play to them team that know their limitations, that are well-drilled, well-rehearsed, and know that they can win games like that. Really disappointed.
I'll start with that then, because obviously you mentioned the well-drilled side, and they were a well-drilled side, just like Wrexham were the week before. It's now 4 points from 9 in a week that's got Wrexham, Hull, and Oxford in its fixture list grid, and that's not good enough. But you mentioned the well-drilled stuff, and obviously there was a damning statistic. I find it damning. I don't know if anybody else will find it damning. Obviously, when Town go behind, I think it's in 30-odd games, they haven't won. That's the blueprint, isn't it? Go ahead against Town, have something to hold on to, play a low block, and well, that was it. You might as well go home from there.
But that's our blueprint, isn't it? That ours is the opposite in that we're not scoring first. I think if we score first, we had so much pressure at the start of the game, and we've just given them a goal, which is really frustrating. You know, we were controlling that game, and it was a bit like the last away game, where we kept a clean sheet. This time we haven't, and we've given them something to hold on to. But it's just, I think, if we score first in these games, which we're not, then I think it's a different. But
how does that sit with you? Before I come to Matt, 60 seconds. The statistic of, I think it's 30, maybe early 30s in terms of Town going behind and not winning the game. It's not a great look, is it?
No, it's not. But I guess unless you're at the very top of the league, I would be interested to see the teams that are really performing really well, how many of those games they turn around, because they would obviously have more points. That's the nature of it. I would say that the fact that you concede first, I would say across history, and I haven't got the stats in front of me, unless we're a seasoned pro like Matt might have those stats, in terms of what is the actual percentage overall of teams that recover from scoring the first goal. I guess you win more games if you score the first goal than you do if you don't.
Yeah. Mike says
I think it's that.
Yeah, Mike says mentality, Gov. don't like it when the chips are down. And Mike is here for his weekly Talking Town therapy. That's right, Talking Town weekly therapy for the diehard fan. We'll do our best to break it down. And Matt, we've heard from Lee there, but before you give us your 60 seconds, Stephen Peck has come in clutch early doors with a £2 super sticker. Stephen, thank you very much. We appreciate your generosity on a Saturday evening. Hope you have a lovely one, whatever you choose to do after this show. And hopefully it doesn't depress you as much as last night did. No, wait, nothing can depress you as much as perhaps last night did. Matt, you've got 60 seconds. You're the season pro, according to Lee Anderson.
Apparently.
So this is like high pressure stakes, right? You've got a goal behind. Don't do a town. Come back and do something with it. Go.
I mean, like, in isolation, it was a very disappointing result because you go to places like QPR, Hull, Swansea, teams that are higher than them they're in the bottom three, and you win those games quite comfortably. But, you know, architects of our own downfall again. I think in the history of Talking Town, Martin, doesn't matter what division we're in, League One through to Premier League and back into the Championship again, we always have this conversation. And you look at the top three, none of them have even won at Oxford this season. Coventry, Borough, Millwall.
Yeah, but Oxford haven't really won at Oxford this season.
Well, exactly. So they haven't really put together a run of games at Oxford to beat sides, but they've proven to be very difficult to beat. Even Coventry, who've got 50 goals now and lost one game in 18 or whatever it is, even they couldn't go down there and get a result. But look, we watched the game. Ipswich carved up enough chances in the first 15, 20 minutes alone to probably win the match. We couldn't do it. And keeps coming, I'm gone beyond 60 seconds now. Keeps coming back to what we keep saying. I don't want to sound like a broken record. We aren't good enough in the final third with our strike force.
I gave you a little bit longer there because I did cut across you during your 60 seconds, which is naughty of me. Apologies. But I wanted to give you the full 60. And you mentioned other teams going down there. And we had a mini conversation, didn't we, before the game? And I think I bluntly said, I don't care what other clubs have. Yeah, I don't care what other. I don't care what other clubs have done.
See, you set yourself up for the downfall. I tried to say, top three haven't won there, Martin. No, I don't care about what they've done.
I don't. And I still don't care about what other clubs have done when they've gone to Oxford, because I care about what we do and how we approach it. And after 2 really good away wins, you're hoping 3 really good away wins. You're hoping that you've turned the corner, particularly away from home. And every game is different in its own way. You know, you've got form, referee decisions, whatever it might be. So I always look at them and go, okay, they didn't do anything there, but I'm not going to take too much stock by that, because particularly, as you mentioned, or I'm about to mention, this is a football team that you say, no matter how long we've been doing the platform, it's the same story. But we are several years in now to the McKenna reign. We are several transfer seasons into the McKenna reign. We have spent a lot of money. Should that same blueprint, should that same story, should that same narrative in terms of what you're talking about there be the case? Really?
Well, I mean, Lee said it in his 60 seconds right there, didn't he? You know, playing out from the back doesn't always help Ipswich, and invariably, when they make a mistake doing so, they concede. And we said right after the Sheffield United game, and we blew them away, beat them 5-0. Made a lot of mistakes in that game. Said on this platform right here, we make those mistakes against teams with better strikers or in better form or more momentum. We're going to go a goal down, or we'll lose the game. And, you know, we got out of jail against Blackburn because we did that, and they got the pen and the game got rained off. Now we go back there Tuesday. I mean, look, Matisse has been great for us, but I mean, he passed to nobody. He literally passed
really
nobody.
Sloppy,
and then
wasn't
to compound that, Morton makes a great save, rebounds back to the same geezer on his left foot or whatever, stuck it in the net. So, you know, McKenna can't come on the camera and go, we gave the game away, when you keep making the same errors over and over again that invariably either cost you goals, or as last night did, cost you the match. Because the definition of madness, as the cliche is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Yeah. Ipswich aren't very good at passing out from the back. If you want to see clubs passing out from the back, watch the top end of the Premier League or teams in Europe. That's how you pass out from the back. Ipswich haven't got good enough players in order to do that consistently, where they're not going to make errors. And you saw it last night. Suddenly we go a goal down. And we keep saying, if we keep conceding goals, then we've got to find 2 goals.
Well, the stat says if you concede the goal, you're not going to get a lot out of it. That's not
that's a bit skewed,
stat. Facts don't care about feelings, do they, Matt? Facts don't care about feelings. That's a fact.
But
you can't argue from it. You can't hide from it.
half of those games were against Premier League opposition.
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah.
Ain't playing bleeding Oxford every week, are we?
No, that's true. That's true.
But I mean, look, McKenna is tied into that format of playing. That's how he wants to play. It's always 4-2-3-1. So you've got no flexibility in tactics, particularly. In and out of possession, maybe. But invariably, we will make those errors and concede goals. As I said in my little 60 seconds there, architects of our own downfall.
Yeah.
You can't sit here and moan about it. We cause it ourselves.
Well, I can, and I will, because we're coming on to a little bit what you've just mentioned there is a little bit of my frustration. But before we do, we've got Mike says, I was hoping the fog would return so we didn't have to watch it anymore.
I was hoping that. You heard of a rain dance, should have done a fog dance, Lee. Is there anything that was going to save us?
80 Crouch, I have my appointment with Freddie coming up. I'll ask him if he can help me with post-match therapy. Absolutely. Go on, Freddie. It's Stonemarket Osteopaths, one of our partners. Mark Smith, worst thing is we lose to Oxford and Norwich only drew, then they get a win today. Hashtag shit weekend. Craig, we've only lost once in a month, had one of the last three away, and Oxford away is our bogey game. Bit of perspective
that
needed.
I do agree with. I mean, look, Ipswich fans do tend to be fickle about these things. We've had a great run of away wins, haven't we, at Hull, Swansea, QPR, but ain't going to last forever. And newsflash, we will lose more games between now and May as well. So I do think people have got to have a little bit of perspective about it, but it's just how we do it, isn't it? Matasiwa gives them the goal. Then it's just a ball over the top. That
but you've lost ground, Matt. You can't. I think the frustration.
We haven't really.
No. I mean, depends where your expectation lies. Is it where's your expectations lie? Because my expectation was we were building a championship super team in the Premier League to try and stay in the Premier League. But if we came down, it would be a lot of quality.
You set yourself up for a downfall already by saying we're going to build a super team to go. Look, Coventry are going to win the title. They're
not even be anywhere near them is a disappointment.
No, but we're very close to say we win if we win, and if is a very big word.
But now you're you're downgrading your own expectations, because at the start of the year you were bang on about top two, top one. We're going to win all these different things, which you should have been, because we're going to attack the division as we were told. And
we've not attacked the division really, have we?
Well, this is what I'm getting at.
Well, we attacked Sheffield United when they were shit. I think they had 5-0.
Poor old Sheffield United. They won though today.
But I mean, look, we haven't, have we? I mean, I said when I was chatting to Crunch on the phone last night, he was driving back. We've actually got ourselves into a position where I think we can go third or fourth. I don't know, after the results day, maybe it's fourth. We sit in eighth. I think we can go to fourth on Tuesday if we win that. I would say we're sitting in a 6 out of 10 season at the moment. We've got 2-3 gears to go up with the squad we've got. And I know he's trying to, bring the squad together a little bit. He's taking more of a time than what people really wanted. And I would argue without 2 decent strikers as well, because you've not replaced Delap. We're actually in a pretty decent space to try and look at for second in a season that has been underachieving, really, and has been from the start. Look, we got outplayed at Birmingham, got lucky pen, got a point there, didn't we? And then it's been that's been the catalyst for the season so far, other than these pockets of really big wins.
All right, we'll go.
Go on, Lee. Can I just?
A
couple of points. So go back to Craig's. I think it was Craig, wasn't it? Put the message.
Yeah, Craig from Winchester. Yeah.
So as it stands as the season where we are, yesterday was very disappointing, but we had a real slow start to the season. So there is massive improvement. I think there is improvement, but you're still going to get these stumbling blocks along the way. If we're sitting here in a week's time and we've just been done over by Blackburn and Coventry had turned up to Portman Road and turned us over, then I think there's a real argument to say, where's the club? We're in a bit of bother. But I think we are getting better. And what I will say is, anybody that watches the London Marathon, you don't win the London Marathon when you're running past the Catty Sark. You win the marathon when you get to the end. Now, I think if Coventry go off and get 100 and something points, that's great. But we can there's still so much time with how the league is to finish second. Quite 100%. Clearly, easy. When you look at the league, it's so tight.
Terrible.
Still, it's not a terrible league. It's a competitive league. It's a competitive league, and you might say it's terrible because we have better players than a lot of the teams. But you've got to turn those good players give you an advantage. But it doesn't mean that you're going to win every week, and we were proven that. You know, that was proven last night. You know, you've got to be humble and you've got to be respectful to the opposition. But yes, we can.
We do. We give points away, Lee. We are humble and respectful.
Yes, well,
you can't be more humble and respectful than that.
But if it keeps Norwich down, and you know, and we get up as second place anyway, then we'll look back on it as a good loss.
That is a very good point. Very good.
We've got to win every game. We've got to win all our games. We've got to win all our games. But I just think a bit of perspective. I still think that, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I
do
agree.
It's a real toe league. I know you've got to play devil's advocate, Martin, but you know we've got.
That is my job.
Let's put a bit of perspective on it.
That's what you two boys are here to do. I'm just here to play devil's advocate. But we're going to go to flashpoints now, and these are obviously facts because these happened, and you can't argue with the facts. Facts don't care about feelings. First, I'll start with the thing that's really sort of eating at me a little bit. All right, it's really eating at me, as probably the viewers can see, and you two can see. It's the selection. It's the consistency and the inconsistency of the selection. And I don't know if I'm right or wrong when I say this, but the only thing about us right now that is consistent is the inconsistency, which also I think goes hand in hand with our selection. And I'm not happy with the constant chopping and changing of the squad, if I'm brutally honest. I'm not a massive fan of it. Jacob Greaves comes in Tuesday night against his old club Hull, has a really fantastic performance. Why can't he start Friday night against Oxford? What's holding that back? Particularly when you want to play out from the back. You mentioned playing out from the back. Well, Jacob Greaves, the stats will tell you, progressive balls, that's his thing. That's his bag. So if you want a ball player centre half, maybe you want Jacob Greaves in there. I don't know. I'm just a football fan.
If you look at the stats last night, there, Martin, all the passes went through Kipre. He had the most. This is it. This is not a knock on Cedric Kipre. This is more of the consistency of the inconsistency, right? Because if you look at the team, Walton in goal, your back five yesterday really should have picked itself. You won away from home at Hull, had a clean sheet. Your centre half that came in had a man of the match performance. The back five should have really selected itself. But it does pick itself, Martin. But the question mark constantly, which has been now for 3 seasons, is why does McKenna constantly rotate only the left-sided centre back? And you can take this all the way back to when we were in with last season with Greaves and Burgess. The season before that was Burgess and Edmondson, you might remember. And now you're seeing it with Greaves and Kipre. I can only presume the club have shut down any questioning around that because not even asked, is it, in a press conference? I've not heard anyone float that, why that is. Because O'Shea is stapled in there, Furlong's in there, Lee, Davis is always in there. And if Palmer's fit, he's going to be your number one. Why is it only the left-sided centre-back? It makes no sense to me.
Well, it's also into midfield as well. You know, Jens Karius, obviously, who couldn't play because he's in a boot, he's injured. That's one change you've had to make there. But Jack Taylor coming in is not a surprise or a shock. It's not out of the cold. He's played recently. He's done really well recently. And I think the only questions you really, Lee, had to really give yourself, if you're Kieran McKenna yesterday, was who's playing in my 10 position, who's playing out wide on the right, and who's playing centre forward? Because Akpom came off the bench at Hull, looks really good up front. Do I play him up front? We play Nunez in behind, who also scored. Does Egley come back in or Casey McAteer? I'm not a massive lover of this inconsistent selection. Well, the only consistent selection it is it's constantly changing. And you've got commentators during the week, I think I read on Discord, mentioning the constant change, and is that a result of the passing and the touches? It can't be good, can it? I can't be barking up the wrong tree here, Lee. It can't be a good thing, this constant chop change.
How many muscle injuries have we had up front? Zero. Absolute zero.
Right.
So
where are you going with that? Because
on Kipre, well, I'm trying to counteract what you're saying. It's a squad game now. It's moved on. Do I always agree with it? No, but you've asked me the question, so I'm going to give you the answer of why McKenna does it. So Kipre, O'Shea's not going to be. O'Shea's the captain, so you're not going to rotate your captain. That's fact. Unless he's injured or carrying a knock, you're not going to rotate O'Shea. He's the captain. So even with McKenna who rotates, you don't rotate. You're not going to rotate your captain.
Yeah.
I think on the left, the left side. So that means if you're not going to rotate O'Shea, it means that you've got two centre backs that you've got the equal amount of trust in, and I think they're being selected tactically. I think they're coming in for a reason because of what they offer. Now, what that is, I'm not sure I can go that deep, but I think that's why they're being rotated. We had it with Edmondson a couple of years ago, didn't we? He came in for one game. I think it was Derby, wasn't it, on a Friday night, and then didn't come in again for ages. He brought him in because of the pace of the opposition. So he came in, give him a game, and then moved him out. In terms of your forwards, you're rotating your forwards again. And I'll come back to the point that, I mean, we talk about Casey McAteer and McKenna, whether or not he was blowing smoke up his backside or not. But he said on the previous game
the whole
that
City
he
game.
dealt with the left back really, really well, and he stopped him from playing. So McAteer was brought in to that team because of defensive abilities over Egali, and he's brought him in to do that, trusting that he can still produce going forward. And if we're struggling, you flare a player, the player probably that, if you're in an attacking sense, would offer you more, is going to come off the bench and finish you the game. So that's these are the tactics, and these are the levels and the detail that we have. Now, we didn't have that in the 80s and the 90s. We wouldn't have that under.
But I'm not talking about 80s.
We haven't
and
got
90s.
the squad. But it is about the rotation. Whatever we say about George Hurst, he leads the line pretty well defensively. I know we've got to score goals. I know he's there to score goals, but it's
his job.
It's his job.
Says Roy Keane.
It's his job. Yeah,
it's his job.
And so you've got that. I think what we're starting to see with Nunez, I think, is clearly the best number 10. I think when he gets the ball, I think he offers more creativity. I think if you want a creative number 10, then it's Nunez. If you want a number 10 that's going to run off the striker, then you're looking at someone like Akpom or Smolix. Then we come to the left side, and you've got two of the best players in the league vying for the same position. So you're going to rotate them. You can't say to which one are you going to say you're not going to play for 3 weeks. Which one? They're as equally as good. But what you don't want is them to both get injured. So again, you would pick one on what's the right back like. Is he weak on going down the outside, or is he weak going on the inside? If he's weak going on the inside, then you pick Clark. If he's weak at going down the outside, then you pick Villaging because he can go left and right.
Okay.
So these are the minor. This is the attention of the detail that football is now managed at. This isn't the 80s and the 90s.
No, we absolutely know that, and you're spot on with a lot of what you say there, and I still don't see the logic behind perhaps the left-hand centre half, and that isn't going to make or break you. Like, that isn't the reason why you got beat. Cedric Kipe coming in for Jacob Greaves, and this isn't about any particular player. You're absolutely right about Jaden Philogene and Jack Clark. Which one do you leave out? Do you let them battle it out in terms of one starts, one comes off the bench, one's got to keep impressing off that substitute's bench to keep pressing hard for a start? And I absolutely buy the stuff that in terms of defensively Casey McAteer brings to the team. I really do. Defensively, that's a real strong element of Casey McAteer's game. Problem is, he signed for £12 million in a position where you want him also to be a producer and produce magic moments that we've seen from previous right wingers. Another question, another gripe, I guess, Matt, from my perspective in this, before we move on to the Matt Sewar incident and the 2 goals, is approach play. Right? The low block is the blueprint to beat an Ipswich Town team. That's the blueprint. Has been for the last, feels like 4 years. But we constantly run out with the same approach, the same style, the same formation. We constantly just effectively bang our head against the brick wall saying, this is what we do, this is who we are, doesn't matter what you do. We then end up in the 500 passes region. We end up bringing Paul Rambert's asthmatic snail out of retirement. And I just feel like occasionally you've got to just like change it a little bit. And if it doesn't work, fine. If you go 3 centre forwards, which we haven't got up front, fine. Whatever it might be, I'm not paid to make those decisions. But to consistently go 4-2-3-1, play out from the back, play slowly, doesn't matter what you do. why aren't we changing stuff here against teams or against sides that we know are going to dig in and play a game that we have seemingly said we can't play against?
Yeah, it's a massive failing on McKenna, that, I think. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's been a frustration that you see in the comments all season and in the Premier League last season. He was not very flexible in his tactics and wanted to go toe-to-toe against some of the best sides in Europe in the Premier League. We're getting undone with just sort of... I mean, the thing for Town, right? You look at the first 15, 20 minutes last night, it's almost like they're taking a battering ram to a glass house, isn't it? It's such hard work to try and create a chance that just goes wide or goes over the bar, and as we say, the overpassing. What a shock! We lose 2-1. We've done nearly 600 passes. Doesn't surprise me at all.
Oh my days! Why am I not surprised at that statistic? Like, but it drives me up the wall. Because even at the top level, Matt, you get different formations. You get a manager like even Liverpool, they might go with a back three one week, or Man United or Ramarin, they might go with a different style of formation if they're chasing a game. Like, whatever it might be, we can question the results of those managers or whatever. But like yesterday, the substitutions. Let's try and do a little bit different here. Because you kind of answered the question there, haven't you? Because I think when at the game when 0-0 on Tuesday against Hull, McKenna had said we're trying to get ourselves into position where we make a raft of substitutions, and then they changed the game. But I go back to my point, really. We huff and puff and try and blow the house down with multiple chances, with multiple, overpassing. What actually beats us in the end? Bloody long ball out of midfield that the kid runs onto. We never score goals like that, did we? When was the last time we scored a goal like that? I can't think of one.
We scored loads against Swansea. Swansea, we scored on the counter attack. 2, maybe 3.
What, over the top? What, over the top 1-on-1 with the keeper?
Well, not long, but they were counter attacks, weren't they? I guess we're not quite.
You got to
quite
argue.
We're not quite as crude, but I do take your point. It's because of the way we're going to concede goals like that, because of the way that we defend. And the way that we set up, of course, Leif Davis gets done with the second goal, and I'm sure we'll come on to the goals.
It wasn't Leif's fault for second goal.
Absolutely. Oh no, I can.
Well, he was nowhere to be seen. It was Taylor. When it was Taylor who was trying to backtrack, and
Taylor, who's pumped the ball into the box to Marcelino Nunez, a player that we signed for his heading ability, right? So that's why you'd pump it into the box to him. And then it falls from there. That whole sweet sequence for me is really bad selection. Bad selection of pass from Taylor to put it in towards Marcelino Nunez, who isn't the player you want trying to rise and knock on a header. He just isn't. And then, of course, you've got Cedric Kipre, who follows the run of this Oxford centre forward. Really intelligent run, really good movement from their point of view. But he follows that run, steps out, leaves the space in behind, and then the rest is... The rest is sadly a 2-1 history. We
score goals like that. I mean, look, Egley and McAteer are tailor-made for a ball over the top for them to run onto on the right-hand side as well.
But you won't get those sort of goals, Matt, because you're not moving the ball quick enough to pull teams out of position to leave space in behind. They just want to sit with two banks and say, we know you cannot move this ball quick enough to make space in behind us. You've got to pull somebody out of their shape to leave a space in behind, which they have to cover. And before you know it, it's like dominoes. 1 moves, 3 moves. Space is there to play with. But we don't pull anybody out of shape, Lee. No. We're so slow. I think I could put some football boots on and go and play against them.
I think if you want to play the ball over the top, you can find me anybody in world football that can play the ball over the top to a defence that's sitting on the top of their 18-yard box.
Exactly. That's my point.
Then you find that. Then you get that. I guess the last time we've sort of seen it was probably the end of League One season, and where Burns was getting... those Chaplin one-time passes into Burns. So we haven't got that. I accept that we haven't got that tactic in this current team. We haven't got that. We've probably got an extra pass in there. But, I remember the Barnsley game in League One where their manager was moaning about 2 long punts. The Hurst goal and then the Burns penalty or the penalty we got and there was those long balls, but they weren't long punts. They were well rehearsed goals. And I think we did one in the Premier. Did we not do one in the Premier League? Didn't Cajuste smash one?
Bournemouth
that went out to a Delap. So we do see it, but we don't see it very often because of the tactics in the game. and it's and when we play, we can't beat, as you alluded to, we struggle against the teams with a low block more, and we're only going to lose those games because of the mistakes that we make. It really is about us. If we get it right, then we aren't going to lose these games. But it was two errors, and I will say about Davis, because if you watch it back, it was a bad ball in. So we try something different. We lump the ball into the box, like you say.
Yeah, but to Nunez.
But
he
just
scored a pass.
He scored a header last game. He scored with his head last game. It wasn't a great
There's
pass.
a difference between there's a cross into the box and a player making a movement than there is
and what happened was we lumped it into the box, and we haven't got no second player. We haven't got anybody. The midfield is so far back that when their guy picks it up, there's no one round him for 30 yards. He picks it, it's headed out, he picks the ball up, he can tie both his shoelaces up. Matasiwa, our game is stretched. We've got backs there, we've got forwards there. But when he picks the ball up, Davis runs back and then stops. If you're a fullback, you've got to get goal side of your player inside him.
Isn't it Taylor?
Taylor, wasn't it? It's Taylor Lee.
Taylor.
No, Taylor passes the ball.
Yeah, then Taylor's the one. No, Taylor's the last man trying to chase him back. That's Jack Taylor.
That's Leif Davis is chasing him back.
No, it's Jack Taylor, because right at the end he even shouts. You can see him shout, like trying to put him off, which I thought was brilliant, by the way. I know it didn't work, but that's when he ran inside. That's such part of football. I love it. Like,
someone's got to put it in the chat. He ran inside Leif Davis.
Jack, I'm sure it's Jack. Look, I would love to tell you it's Leif. I would love to tell you it's Leif Davis. Believe me, as a Jack Taylor super fan, but sadly, it is Jack Taylor. It is.
What, at left back?
He's the one.
Whoever's at left back, he stops.
Yeah, it's
and
Jack
then
Taylor.
the ball's played over. He's got to keep going inside and get goal side of the player. And what happens is he stops, and then the guy who scores. And by the way, it's a good finish.
It's a lovely finish.
He stops, and the right winger gets the run on him. The right winger gets the run on him. If you're going to give the ball if you're going to get done one-on-one, let the player get in front of you. And I think that's the naivety of it. And so it is a mistake. I thought it was Davis, but anyway, whoever it was, they should be covering that better. And if they cover back further in terms of carry on running and get goal side, that old fashioned word goal side, then he doesn't get the run. He doesn't get the run on him.
No, we're also not brave enough.
So that's a mistake. That's an error. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's just an error.
No, I completely agree with you. Hickey says the Force are not expecting a quick counter-attack and are not making runs because they've cheesed off without any service. So I think Hickey is sort of a little bit right there, Matt, in terms of I don't think we're brave enough on the ball. If you watch us and you took a screenshot, at times you've got 5 players like statues, no movement whatsoever. Where does the ball player go? And I might do a video on this. Where does the ball player go? We all want us to move faster, but where does the ball player go? Other times, those 5 players, 2, 3 maybe are making runs, but we're not brave enough on the ball in terms of our back line, in our midfield. It's at times in pulling the trigger and going, right, go for it, and making a brave pass. Because if you look at it again, other times there's runs being made and then we stop and we check back inside. And then that centre forward or winger has got to stop, bring himself back on side, and then look to make that run again. We've got to be braver at times with the ball, particularly along the back 4 for me.
Well, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do agree with that. I would say the strikers had plenty of opportunity last night. Yeah, Hurst chance comes in, the glancing one just goes past the post. One where he hit the keeper, saves it with his face. They started checking to make sure he'd not lost any teeth. One of my fears that gave me the fear. And then McAteering to Ivan at the near post, right at the death, to equalise. They got plenty of opportunity to do stuff. They're just those two are not good enough. I mean, I was just looking at Coventry, right? So they've won today 3-1, but they haven't got Thomas Asante. He's their top scorer. He's out injured, so might not play against us. Ditto Wright. I don't think he's going to play against us either. They've got your favourite up top, Martin, that you wanted to sign a few years back, Ellis Sims.
Ellis Sims, yeah, good plan.
I mean, that's why Coventry are top with 50 goals, is because those 3 players are better than anything we've got in the final third, I think. But, it's not sound like a broken record. You've replaced Liam Delap, who might go to the World Cup in the summer. with George Hurst and someone we've never even heard of, Ivan Azon, on loan. And, you know, Hurst has gone from League One, Championship, Premier League, back into the Championship again. Cost us $1 million and a half. The Lap's shoes are too big for him to fill. You need someone of the ilk of an Ellis Sims or Thomas Asante, proven Championship goal scorers.
Yeah.
We haven't got it. And Ivan might come good, but there's a question mark around him. He seems to miss a lot of chances to me. He's got one goal.
He's raw, isn't he? He's very much your third centre forward who is you're developing. He isn't going to be perhaps your number one right now, but you're bringing him along and you want to see if you can develop him into a player that you believe he can be. It's the 1 and 2 options. It's that you haven't quite got because you've got only 2 options in which to choose from. I know Tube Abrams also.
Well, I mean, Tube got the nod over Ivan, didn't he, on Tuesday against Hull, didn't he, and play into that number 9 role. We know he can play there. But he has been brought in for a 10 because that's where he scored the majority of the goals for Borough. Go and look it up on the internet. That has enabled Chaplin to leave the building. Akpom coming in. That's the worry for me. But I will go back. You know, I don't want to be too negative. I'll go back and say it's a 6 out of 10 season at the moment. I feel we're in gear 2 out of a possible 5 gears. We could be sitting 3rd or 4th or whatever it's going to be on Tuesday night.
Yeah, the division
nowhere near what this squad is probably capable of because everyone below Coventry isn't that good.
Exactly. The league being so competitive, I'll use Lee's phrase competitive instead of my own earlier in the show, means you're always going to be there or thereabouts. But it's about what you expect from the team, and you know, look, the culture at the football club is excellency. The culture at the football club is the highest. As football fans, we shouldn't downgrade our own expectations and our own thoughts on it. And yes, you're right. The league table will keep you there or thereabouts. It doesn't mean you can always be happy with what you've seen. And last night, I wasn't particularly happy with what I saw. Rob Holmes says Coventry start with a settled back 5 and Thorpe and Grimes in the middle every week. That's not changing. Mike D, Gov's tactics truck.
We mentioned him a couple of seasons ago, maybe when he became available for transfer. This could be someone that could come into the Ipswich midfield. They've been at Swansea for X amount of years. I think he'd been at Exeter before. He's a really good Championship player. I would argue he's probably better than probably Taylor and Coustate, to be honest. But everyone's kind of sold in on those 2 players.
Mike D, Gov's tactics truck, got a set. Yes, let's go to a positive. The set piece goal. Beautiful thing. I may have watched it a few times because it's the only highlight really of last night from Ipswich Town's point of view. My other sports team. That's its own separate story, and I'm delighted with it. Good, better, best, never let it rest. But Lee, talking about good, better, best, that was a set piece and a half. It's beautiful in its design, in the way it gets Davis isolated on his own and then leave Davis with a technique that makes you purr because he's got to get over it. He's got to keep it down. So many times you see a player either air hit it and the ball goes past them, hit it and it balloons in, well, in this case, into the car park, or as he does, the technique superbly. Just a wonderful, wonderful set piece, and it can't be applauded enough from me.
Well, I think the set piece coach has earned 1 month's salary, I guess.
He certainly has. Those statistics for him are going up and up and up. Bonus on the way.
I mean, it was all planned, wasn't it? Because you swapped the other taker, you know, the other corner takers because Nunes takes it, and we've seen Chaplin score, you know, that sort of run where he's then left behind it. I've been sitting there for the last, you know, when you've been mentioning about we're not regular set pieces, we've sort of lost that Chaplin set piece where we get him isolated at the top of the box, and I was wondering when that was coming back, and of course it came back. It came back well last night, and you know, and Davis hits it well, catches it right. It opens up for him, and you know, it is a really it's a well worked goal. It's not just stick it in the box, and it's not just stick it in the box and see what happens. That was off the training ground.
It was,
and they don't always, you know, they're not. There's so much to go. There's so much has got to go right on that. First of all, you've got to take all the defenders away.
Yep.
Then Nunes has got to hit it onto his foot.
He's got to hit it well. Yeah,
he's got to hit it right,
good.
And then he's got to force Davis, who's then got to hit it on goal and find the gap between the players. It reminds me, a little.
You're going to say Paul Scholes, isn't you?
No, I'm going to say the one where Beckham for Real Madrid, doesn't he play? He plays one out to
You're talking about
French
Beckham
guy.
to Scholes against Bradford, aren't you?
No. I'm talking. He does one for Real Madrid out to who's the French guy? Oh Christ, one of the best players in the world. Zidane. He plays one out to Zidane. Look it up on YouTube.
I will.
It's not quite exactly the same because I think Zidane's a bit further out, but Beckham plays a corner out and Zidane just smashes one. So
good comparison, isn't it?
It is a sort of a good comparison. But
Beckham to Zidane, done one. Nunez to Davis. I love it.
Morsey's done one. We've had Morsey do that from the top,
yeah,
as well, haven't we? So, we've probably used it now. It's just a shame that we've had to use it in a defeat rather than a narrow.
But at the time, it got you back in the game, and it could have gone a different way. And you're absolutely right in everything you've just said there. It's beautifully off the training ground. That is what a set piece looks like when you've been working at it and working at it and working at it. It's like synchronized swimming. If you watch the movement in the box to the timing of the delivery, to the quality of the delivery, to Leif Davis, that is execution of something they've done over and over again. Because the movement itself, just to draw the whole Oxford line away, it's beautiful. You've got players going left, players going right, players going centre. Oxford backline don't know where their man's going. And they completely lose track of Leif Davis, sat on the edge of the 18-yard box or just inside the 18. It's beautiful. I can't watch it enough. As someone who rants and raves about set pieces for the last 18 months, that's what I want from a set piece coach. That's quality. And if he's watched Real Madrid, Lee, or watched Man United versus Bradford and taken it from those two games, however he arrived at the design, love it, Mr. Hudson. Well done. And Mike says he'll be doing a Keith Andrews soon and becoming the boss. Obviously joking, says Mike. And Deja Vu JT has made a great comment, but also not a great comment, because he says Lee isn't wearing blue tinted glasses. He's sensible and measured, not prone to hyperbole. Great guest, but Lee's not a guest. He's a part of the team. He's not a guest. He just turns up when he wants. No one asks Lee to turn up. He just rocks up.
It's usually me wearing the blue tinted glasses, isn't it? I think if you go back to shows for 3 or 4 years, not that I've been on them all. I mean, I think Matt's more measured as the seasoned pro.
God, have you paid him off this evening?
No,
he's missed the compliments with you.
I know. Ship it in. Thanks.
All he's done is rolled his eyes at when I've spoken. But it's fine. It's fine. We live.
It's your comment. It's your comment, man. As you called him the season pro.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. All right, on to somebody who's had a fantastic season, but sadly had a bad moment. Anzor Matasiwa gets sloppy with his pass back to Christian Walton, and they pounce on that, and that's really where the evening starts to go downhill from there. Because leading up to it, I thought Town were on top, and I thought if you just quickened up and livened up, you should run away with this game 2-3-0. It's what it was looking like, particularly in the first 10-15 minutes from me. But then we give them something to cling on to, man, and it's poor from there. But talk us through Mattersey was error, but then also he's 90. Did he recover from that for you and go on to play his normal game? How did you see his game?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've said on this show before, show me a better CDM in the Championship that's better than Mattersey. But he's been great for us. Seamlessly replaced Morsey, and is probably better than Morsey. The only thing he's probably 100%. Not better than Morsey is that's where I think we're missing, Lee. Where some of these defining moments, and everyone's moaning, we've got 4 defeats and we only lost 6 in the Championship last time. I think you're missing the Morsey drive in the park there. The kind of like rolling the sleeves up and just cajoling players and getting us over the finishing line. I think that is what's missing from the middle of the park at the moment. So I was gutted for Matthew Seaward because he's been tremendous. I think he's probably been our best signing, I would say. Just in terms of the shoes he's had to fill. Done it brilliantly. Really good player. I'm not sure what was going through his head there. Is he looking to pass it back to Kipre? I'm not sure. False to that, was it Harris, I think? I mean, as soon as they said he hadn't scored for about 30 games, that kid, I thought, stick a fiver on. He's going to score in this game. And of course, he gets 2 bites of the cherry. It was a very good save from Walton, actually. Just very unlucky. I mean, it could have gone anywhere. Sod's law, of course, dictates it goes straight back to him, and with his alternate foot, rifles it in. Could O'Shea have done better on the line? Maybe. O'Shea's looking very good with the tash, by the way. I wonder if he'll keep that into December. He's got very 80s style Johnny Walk vibe going on there. I'm not sure Leeds is good.
What is he doing? Why do you ask if he's doing November? Is he?
Yeah.
Is that? They used to.
Davis.
I didn't realise.
Davis as well.
I didn't realise.
Okay. If Leaf's going to keep scoring superb technical volleys from the edge of the box with that Tash, I think he should be forced to keep it. But I mean, like I say, gutted for Matasiwa. But look, he's got a really good mindset. He did bounce back, and I actually thought he played very well after that. But comes back to what we said at the top. As soon as we concede, we've got to try and find 2 goals out of somewhere. And as I keep saying, we keep huffing and puffing, and it's very, very difficult for Town to score in those circumstances. I don't know why, because we gift Oxford, a team that's in the bottom 3, one opportunity. It's in the back of the net. For whatever reason, we can't do that.
It's the way it is. It's who we are, mate. It's just who we are. I haven't got the soundboard to play today, otherwise I would play it. Seriously, do you think? I was about the Tash. Mike says we've always got a massive rickiness, and Jamie says love Matasiwa better than Morsey. Great save from the keeper's face. Hurst was very unlucky, says Hart, and that was obviously about George Hurst's opportunity. I think our goalkeeper had a really good game, by the way, for Oxford. Like whether he meant to get his face to things or his body parts to things, his positioning was obviously so good that he was able to do that, and it's just unfortunate. Stuart, wish McKenna would not change the team so much. A settled team would be better. Certainly would. That's my feelings on it. Anyway, right, but I'm going to do likes and dislikes, right? Only a few of them. We've really covered in depth the game. We've got the voice messages coming up in a second. We are live again on Monday, 8 p.m. for Talking Town's match previews. We look ahead to Blackburn, although the weather forecast suggests that might also be another one that's postponed. I don't know, but we'll do a match preview anyway. On that one will be Alex Wilson and Vicky joining me to discuss the Blackburn game. Looking forward to that one. Do join us. We've got plenty left to come this evening. So let's start with our voice messaging service from the stands. It's free. You can do this anytime you want. Speakpipe.com/Talking Town. Before, during, after the game, any time of the week, even right now. If you've heard something you don't agree with, or perhaps you do agree with, then you can give us a voice message. Questions, rants, praises. Here we go.
Hello, Martins. David Pascoe here. I was the one who sent the voicemail about our poor record at Oxford and how I thought that theory that if we win at the Kassam Stadium on Friday, that means we're guaranteed promotion. Of course, we lost there 3 years ago in the fog and still got promoted from League One, so the theory doesn't entirely hold water. But of course, you're more than within your rights to blame me if we do win on Friday and the season goes tits up from there on. Of course, it's always been a horror show at Oxford, I remembered subsequently, because of course we drew there in April 1992 and confirmed promotion to the Premier League. So it hasn't always been a horror show there. And hopefully Friday will give us our first ever league win in Oxford.
Well, what can you say? New to all of this, so you have to bear with me. But yeah, I'm not really sure what to say about that game. It wasn't exactly Ipswich Town of the past 6 or 7 games. It's just 2 steps forward, 1 step back at the moment. Oh well, yeah. On to the next one.
Oh, why do I do it? I go away second time this week, see my team. Chance to go second, yes, temporarily. But boy, what errors we did. Matt Silver, what were you doing? For goodness sake. And then they go and we score, yes, but then they go and score again. We had a chance to go second, yes, only temporarily, but my boy, Oxford have only won once there all season in the home ground.
Twice now.
They draw against Norwich, for goodness sake, and then we had a chance to go second. Yeah, but only temporarily. Yeah. Now after today's results, at the most we can go 5th, but we've got to beat Blackburn. Please. 1,200 miles I'm going to do this week, Town, supporting my team. Please, can we just have a win on Tuesday? Up the Town.
And there was your voice messages for this week. I really loved the second caller. Thank you so much for leaving us a voice message. I know it can be a bit daunting doing it, but we appreciate you leaving it with us. Please do get involved again soon. obviously the third caller, Matt, you could really feel A, the tiredness in the travel, B, the pain in the travel. Just sort of, you could feel the weight of the world on that caller's shoulder. I felt sorry for him.
Well, yeah, but the beauty of the championship is the games come thick and fast, so we can address this on Tuesday. Hopefully, please God, we get the win there, and suddenly things are looking a little bit rosier. We need some momentum going into that commentary game. 100% we do. We can't be going into that commentary game on back of 2 defeats.
No, I agree. I agree. Yeah, absolutely. And it's the game in hand that we've all in our heads chalked up as a win already. So if it doesn't, the league table.
I'm not sure why.
As football fans,
how inept we were in the game at Ewood earlier.
That's what they do. And the first caller, David leaving us his apology almost in terms of trying to mention how bad of a ground Oxford's been to us in the past, but it has been. So there we go. Thanks very much for leaving your voice messages. Do it any time. It's totally free. You don't sign up. You don't leave your name. If you don't tell me who you are or sign up, I don't know who you are. So you can be anybody, but just make them. I don't know if I should have said that or not. I'm not quite sure if we're going to get anything now or not, but we'll see. Leave us a voice message. Right, likes and dislikes. It's very simple. What did you like? What did you dislike? We've covered the game. I've already said 2 of my dislikes, so I'll be a bit quiet on this segment. But we'll start with you, Lee, as we sort of turn the corner around, inside the last 10 minutes of the game. And here we are inside the last 10 minutes of the podcast. Take us home, Lee. Give us a like or a dislike from yesterday.
Well, they're sort of linked together. So the dislike was that after they scored their second, they then had another 5-10 minute spell where they could have gone on and scored again. But I guess the like was that we didn't crumble. Oxford, call them Oxford or wherever they are in the league, when they made their substitutions, they got that second goal. They could have scored a third. They were pumping that ball up to the big striker. They were getting people on the second ball, and we could have easily conceded a third, but we didn't. And then we came. Was not necessarily strong, but we had opportunities at the end. The Azon one was another where the goalkeeper saved it off he saved one off his face, one off his shoulder. So I guess that's a like and a dislike. But can I just say on McAteer, I'm not sure how many times he's got to cross that ball in the box for someone to score. Because if some of the chances that he's put in the box go in, he could have about 4 or 5 assists to his name, but he hasn't got them. I know he's got to give more, but let's just stay with him. So it was a like and a dislike in the final 15 minutes. Yeah,
Craig in our chat keeps giving us a like. He says that we are a threat from corners. Give us your likes and dislikes, guys. Can be anything and anything from yesterday. What did you like? What did you dislike? There was Lee with a like and a dislike and a like. That's often how I do it, Lee. I kind of wrap up a dislike with a like. It's like a shit sandwich, basically, isn't it? Here's the bad, but also here's some good. And then you walk away feeling quite happy with yourself.
I've never had shit in my sandwich. I like to put a bit of beef in, or a bit of ham or something like that, or a bit of cheese.
Oh, yeah. So it's a corporate talk. It's a corporate talk. When you go into a meeting, give them a shit sandwich, give them the bad, give them the good, and then finish with some bad. Matt, likes or dislikes can also be from this week, by the way. Obviously, Mark Ashton's video did come on. Although yesterday was quite funny, not quite funny, but yesterday you'd give no one more than a 6-7. There we go. Sorry, that was awful, terrible. Matt, over to you. Likes, dislikes, please.
I mean, my dislike is to go on what Lee was saying there about this sort of McAteer is constantly being used by Town fans. He's gone on social media, which I do rarely these days, for these very reasons, as a complete scapegoat to losses. Geezer's on the bench for 84 minutes. And as Lee rightly says, he puts in a very good cross for Ivan to score at the near post and doesn't convert it. Let me tell you right now, because I've done the deep dive on this, McAteer and Eagley's stats are pretty much the same. And I would say McAteer's defensive stats are better. And Eagley's obviously got the assist at QPR. I just don't understand why he keeps getting made a scapegoat for defeats. He's not even on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? And people just magnify, the cross at the end where was probably too hard, too high, and Clark can't get to it. I just don't understand why.
What was that? Was it a cross or a shot, do you think?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. But,
insightful analysis there. What was the talking about?
It just looked like his shot. It looked like his shot the other day. It was nothing. It was neither a cross or a shot. The one where he should have hit the target. But I think, all his other crosses have all been on the deck, haven't they? Have all been between the goalkeeper and the fullback. But that one, he just kicked it over Davis's head. At that time, if he'd just got that, not over Davis, Philogene wasn't, I think. or whoever. No, Clark.
Clark.
Clark was there, wasn't he? If he gets that past the goalkeeper on the deck or
if he gets it right, you could have a good chance
if
of
he gets
scoring.
it right along the ground or just we score.
And I think that's
At the
probably
same
where
token,
people
though-
are. Sorry, Matt. I just want to answer your question. Why people sort of criticising McAtee? I think that's probably to answer that. That is the answer to the question. If he does get that right, you have got a good chance of scoring. And I think people see those opportunities and go, "Oh, he's not got it right."
He probably knows that himself. We don't need us three to tell him. But by the same token,
That's what a podcast does, mate.
But you go back into the first half, Egley's got two gilt-edged chances. One he sticks past the right post, and one he hits the post with the header.
So is your dislike
done that? But if McAtee had done that, everyone would have been moaning.
Agreed.
Because Egley's come with a huge transfer fee. He's cost 8 to 10 million more than McAtee, yet he seems to be getting a free ride on these things. I think he's only had one shot on target in all the games he's played.
So is your dislike people criticising McAtee, or is your dislike the production of Sindravali Egley? Or are they two dislikes that you're bringing to the party?
I just don't see the positive of it. Keep getting on a player's back and then expecting to produce the goods. And there's a player 8 to 10 million more that you've played who's no better than McAtee really on the stats and should have scored last night, but seems to get a bit of a free ride. Okay, he's younger and he's got probably a bit of a higher ceiling than what McAtee is. I get that. But for the same token, someone we've paid 20 million for, and he's a teenager at this level when, was pulling up trees in Scandinavia and he's supposed to be like one of their next wonder kids and everything. I'm expecting more from him. He should have had at least 2 or 3 goals by now. Eagerly. It seems to be getting a free ride of everybody.
Okay, so there's 2 dislikes there.
Do you not think when you watch both, though, can you not, I mean, you won't get the stat, but when you get the feel for watching the game, do you not think that Igali's got a little bit more about him and the anticipation, there's more anticipation?
And that's what it is. I think you get more.
Is there more anticipation?
I think you expect. Yeah, there is. I agree. No, there is. Yeah,
I think he can make some.
He came with Stardust. He came with Stardust. He come out with Nunes in the centre circle. There was a bit more hype around him than McAtee. McAtee came out of nowhere. It was like Ogbenny's Mark II, wasn't it?
But he's also flashed more than McAtee. Either a shot over the bar or got to the byline. He's looked more likely to make something happen, which I think what Lee was sort of alluding to.
Well, he
more
might have
times
like
than McAtee.
Happen, but newsflash, he hasn't made anything happen.
No,
true.
I'm not. I agree with you, Matt, 100%. But I'm just saying. So when you look at it, that's the only difference. The difference there is that I think he links up really well. Igali links up really well with Nunes. When those two are playing together, they're snappier and it does more, and you feel like more is going to happen rather than.
I do get that,
and it's not criticism of McAtee. It's just I think some people will just sense that a little bit more.
I get that. I get that, and like I say, I think Egley's probably got the higher ceiling, but I just don't see the benefit of people keep roasting McAtee like this and expecting him to be 10 out of 10.
Any of the players. I mean, we're roasting. Hurst is getting a roasting, right?
I think they're getting criticised for the performances people are seeing on the football field. Frankly, I don't think anyone's.
We didn't criticise him 2 years ago. We didn't criticise him.
He was injured for the back end of the campaign, was he not? If memory serves me correctly.
Up until Christmas, the world fell apart when he got injured at Christmas or in December. About this time last year, wasn't it? Oh, sorry, this time in the season 2 years ago.
Oh, Hurst, he done his hamstring. It was Boxing Day, wasn't it, against Leicester?
Yeah. He's a better player now than he probably was 2 years ago. But because
he's not. When we've got criticism of Hurst, it's not his fault. We know what Hurst brings to the table for us.
Yeah.
It's the fact that McKenna and Ashton or whoever have decided that he's the replacement for someone who could be in the England squad in the World Cup.
He's not the replacement. But he was there before. He was there before Delap.
Okay,
he was also there before. He was there before Delap. Delap was in the Premier League. Delap is a far better player, but it's not Hurst's fault that we haven't replaced Delap. And what I will say about replacing Delap, who out there for 20 million quid would replace Delap? Who could we have bought? And when you mentioned Ellis Sims, it's quite interesting. You mentioned Ellis Sims. 2 years ago, he couldn't kick a football at Portman Road. He was absolute garbage. He was dire when we played them 2 years ago. He couldn't kick a football. And now he's hit form. Now he's hit form. But who would we have bought? Who would we have got for 20 million quid
Well,
that would
Latte
replace Liam Delap in the Championship.
We've got
Oh,
Matt's Latte left. Craig says, like that we're a threat from corners
Is he
now.
available? You can't.
Probably not. Jamie says, I like the goal, of course. Mike says, dislike the right-hand side, which is what, obviously, Matt, you're alluding to there.
Here's a question. Here's another dislike for you. Why did, unless he had a knock, why did Furlong come off? Because you're 2-1 down or whatever. You bring Ashley Young on.
Because Ashley Young will give you something further forward. That's
well,
not a dislike for me.
He don't give you one of the longest throws in the football league, does he? And when you want balls in the box,
do we? You've seen us at long throws. It comes in the
you
box.
can't
Everyone looks surprised that he's thrown it that far. Everyone goes, I didn't know you could throw it that far. Like, we don't look like we actually worked on those. Not to criticise Mark Hudson,
once Clark come on, it just goes round in circles. He wasn't putting balls in the box there, was it? I mean, you've lost an attacking threat there that would send the ball from the halfway line with a throw into the penalty box. I didn't understand that unless he was injured.
It's rotation. It was pure
rotation. It was more
rotation.
rotation. I mean, what was the bloody point of that? I don't get it. You've taken away a weapon.
It was bringing him on to give him 10 minutes rest. He's got to play two. He wants him to play against Blackburn and he wants him to play against Coventry. Now, the counter argument is quite obviously, well, you've got to win the game that's in front of you. I get that. And it was noticeable that we had a couple of throw-ins towards the end where Furlong, I mean, he was launching them in like exercise, wasn't he? So you did lose, you did take that from the game. You know, that was taken out of the game. So I get that. But if you're trying to chase a game, why doesn't Ben Johnson is better? I would put Ben Johnson.
Yeah,
I would put Ben Johnson, and I think when he came on at the end, I didn't think he was very good at all. I thought he got caught out a couple of times.
No, I agree.
A bit difficult. So I would say Ben Johnson would be ahead.
I can see the thinking though.
A bit more dynamic. He's a bit more
behind-
dynamic running with the ball.
Sean says, like that Leaf scored again at Oxford. He's got our last 2 goals there. Deja vu, JT. Even though last night ruined my weekend, I still don't think overall we played better than we won at Hull. McAteer, I like him. Since Ipswich Town, old boy, he hasn't suddenly become a poor player. Our expectations of him were or are massive. Trevor said Egley's still raw, got a lot to learn. Mike says, I think it's about Egley. He says he's certainly no Amari. Wes is better than both of them. Trevor, perhaps McKenna should start to take some of the flack. Steady now, Trevor. Steady on. Steady on. We don't have that. Adi says the press are too nicey when they interview Kieran McKenna. I'm not getting involved. No. And the last one for you to both comment on is Mike D's. He dislikes use it or lose which of course stems from Mr. Ashton's tour.
Started on this, Martin. God.
No, well, I'm not going to comment on this because if you get me started on it, you'll never get me off it. And I'm going to go and have some dinner. But I'm going to give it both to you two. Mark Ashton sort of hinting at a procedure, a process where if you don't use your season ticket, effectively you'll lose it. Which one wants to go first with that dislike from Mike? Mike just dropping one in casually towards the end of the show.
Well, I mean, look, they've got I understand the thinking of it because it's part and parcel now in the Premier League, isn't it? To have the sell on site, and we've got that as well. So they want bums on seats, don't they? But I do.
You know how you use that service?
Say again?
Do you know how you use that service?
I've used it.
No, but do you know how to use it? Do you know what you get for it?
No, I just give my ticket away to other people at the moment. I don't know. I wouldn't even know where to go to on the website at the moment. Right. If I wanted to.
And that's my point. That's my point. Do you know, Lee?
I get your
point.
On
the website. You'd go on the website.
And do you know how you actually go through the process of doing it?
Is it an obvious thing?
I've not done it. I've given my ticket. No. If someone can't give me my ticket, I'll find someone else. I mean,
we're giving it away. We're giving it away.
Well, I do, and I don't. You know, I'm not. I don't sell my ticket for any. No, that's fine. That's fine. Like that. I got people who will use the ticket, but
don't incriminate yourself.
I think it's a like. I don't agree with Mike. It's a like, and I'll explain why. There was a lady who sat behind us in the year of the takeover, so the Cook era and that around COVID, and I don't know why she didn't have the ticket, but that ticket was not used for the whole season from the full year of McKenna. So the promotion year in League One up until now, that ticket has not been used. And my brother-in-law, who tried to get a season ticket, He wrote to the club and said, "Look, there's these tickets," and explained the situation. And the message back from the club, the message back from the club was, "It's their ticket. It's their ticket. They've paid for it." But of course, that now moves on. So I think what we've got to look at before I have full judgment is what is the process? What are the rules? You know, if you're going to go on holiday for 2 weeks, but you don't want to resell it, I think that's fine. If you look at across the season and you've missed 10 of the games, then I think there's an argument to have. If you're missing, because obviously if you're going to go to Coventry next Saturday and you fall ill on the Friday night, how can you resell it that quickly and what can you do? So there's going to be a bit of I think when you look at the policy, whatever it might be, I think there'll be a bit of leeway there. I don't think it's going to be one game in your band. I don't know.
There'll be a buffer, won't there?
They must be able to see.
But it's right, though, isn't it right? Isn't it right?
I disagree.
Why would you?
I disagree. I do.
So if no one turned up next week, no one's going to be there.
It's not going to happen, though, is it? It's about keeping the ground full. And if there's a demand for tickets, and you generally can't go to games for a period of time, and you've got no one to give it to, then sell it back to the club.
I agree with what Lee's saying, and I also agree with mine. It's your money. You can do what you want with it.
Which is what Mike D says, yeah. Isn't it our money, though, so we can do what we want with it?
I see both points of view. I mean, what they really want is bums on seats, so you're spending money in the stadium, be it drinks or in the shop.
Yeah, of course. Every person will have a value on it, won't they? You know, like they expect that person to.
I don't like how I agree. I do get it, but I don't like how sort of Premier League criteria has filtered its way into Ipswich. Like you're paying almost like London prices to park your car outside.
4 years back out Portman Road, by the way.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that.
Bit of a short memory.
Yeah, I get both points of view. I think from a club point of view, you want bums on seats, and I get what you say, mine. It's your money.
Well, okay, I'll tell you what I'm at with it. I completely get why the club want to do it. It makes perfect sense from a club point of view, and I don't begrudge the club doing it because I can see where they're coming from it, and there's a lot of positive reasons or good reasons, as sort of Lee's alluded to. My massive issue with this is threefold. First of all, I'd like to know statistics on these three criteria. How many games are missed on a Saturday? How many games do customers miss on a midweek game? And how many times are customers missing a game because Sky Sports have rescheduled it, which Sky Sports do at a quite often rate? Because I think we live in a county where the moment you step out of Ipswich, it isn't great public transport. Some places aren't even served by bus routes anymore. Buses stop at a certain time. And
trains ain't great. Trains from London ain't great. And I might
trains aren't absolutely. Trains aren't great. So that plays into my midweek, particularly during the winter months where it's darker earlier, it's colder. Do you want to be on your own? All these different things that play into people's perhaps thought process behind. You know what? I won't go tonight for Stoke, for example, because of this. And then, of course, the third reason with Sky moving games, like yesterday, for example, if that was a home game, that's moved from a Saturday 3 p.m. to a Friday night. Everyone who pays their money for their season ticket doesn't buy it just because they want a season ticket not to go to a football game. They buy it, whether you accept it, agree with it or not, because football traditionally is still mentally a Saturday 3 p.m. You expect it to be Saturday 3 p.m. You expect some movement, but not that much. So if yesterday was moved and you're on game 4 and you can only miss 5 games, but you're working, but you took time off a midweek trip to Hull, where do you sit in terms of, am I going to lose my season ticket because I took my holiday to go to Hull and now Sky have moved the game and I'm going to hit the criteria? So is there going to be an exclusion for games that are moved by Sky Sports won't be included in your missed number? Because I think it should be, with games being moved to a Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday, a Monday, whenever they feel fit to put games on, that's when they move them too. And lastly, I don't think the messaging behind the resale platform has been good enough. Hasn't been good enough, hasn't been loud enough, hasn't been clear enough. There are fans that don't know.
Well, you've been talking. I still haven't found it on the website.
This is it. Some fans don't know how to find it, how to use it, what you get from it. I'm one of those fans, by the way. Yeah. And I just feel if you're going to go with this route, fine. You have to do so much more in terms of be clear about your criteria, be clear about what's excluded. Perhaps Sky fixtures that are moved, and be louder with your messaging, whether that's working with platforms like this, Blue Monday, Cruncher, etc., to get the message out to every single football fan. This is what it is. This is how you do it. This is what you get from it. You have to be so much more louder and clearer with that messaging in terms of the ticket resale platform, so that every single fan knows how they can do it, knows what they get from it. And if they can't work it online, because some fans can't, and that's fine, there's a dedicated phone number they can call up anytime and it can go through. Because what you don't want, Lee, is Friday night you fall ill, but it's past 5 o'clock in the evening and the phone line is shut, and then you miss your game, and that's it. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thanks for 60 years. Thanks for 50 years. Thanks for 20 years. Thanks for being here when Marcus Evans ran the club down, in terms of what they keep telling us, how bad it was here.
I'm sure they'd write to you first. I mean, you ain't just going to get a red card.
They have to do more, is what I'm saying. They have to do more.
I agree with the movement of the games. People work on weekends. You buy your ticket because you expect to go on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. I get that. But it doesn't stop you from, if you know you're working, there's nothing to stop you about trying to get the ticket to be used. Because I think it helps the club in terms of, one, I think you get your money back and then, or you get a proportion back and then the club resells it. Why wouldn't you want to give it to another fan that can't always go?
You shouldn't think, though. You should know. You should know 100% what you get for using it.
The acid test, if people want to resell their ticket, they will. And let me explain why. You can't find it on the platform, nor can Matt. If I generally said, if you can find me how to resell that ticket in 10 minutes and I'll give you £1 million, you're going to come back in 2 minutes and tell me how you're going to resell your ticket. People just don't want to do it. And I think that's the problem.
Because I don't think they understand what they get for it.
I think when they launch it, I mean, I'm not an advertising campaign person. I'm quite logical sometimes. I would like to think that when the club set out the policy, they will relaunch the platform. People just ignore it because they can.
Yeah, agreed.
But I do. But it is right about the changes to the games. We all. The Premier League is even worse. We expect a 3 o'clock on a Saturday. We're getting a Friday night. The away games are shocking. But then that's another story. People will buy the away ticket. Do they go? And that's just the demand. This has all been brought on because of the demand. I think Ashton said there's 6,000 people on the waiting list for a season ticket.
There are.
Now,
yeah.
I would suggest that a high proportion of those 6,000 are people that get tickets, scramble for tickets on a normal match day. So I don't think it's 6,000 on top of 29,000 or 27. But I think he did mention the average of tickets not being used on a day. I'm sure he mentioned it in the chat, in the conversation on the day, but I think it's quite high. I think it's over 1,000, between 1,000 and 2,000. Someone in the chat, someone in the chat might know, but that feels quite a lot.
It does. No, you're right.
If it's 50 or 60, and you've done it once, then you're going to have that gap. If we're trying to do stuff as one team and that sort of thing, if it's 2,000 tickets and we can get rid of 1,500 of those to get other people in the ground, then as a club, why wouldn't we?
No, exactly.
It is our money. It is our money, but we get the money back if you can't use it.
Well, this is it. But you say that, but then someone in the chat, AD, says they don't get anything for selling on.
I don't know. I'm not. As I say,
this is it. This plays into my point about the messaging so far that's not being loud enough and clear enough. But you shouldn't have this. Because you're not the first fan that's told me you do. But then someone in the chat says you don't. It should be clear. It should be so front and central that you can't miss it. Yeah. That this is what you do. This is how you do it. Because you're right. People, it's their seat. It's their island in the world that the world outside doesn't exist. It's just me and my football team. It's me and my family, me and those that have passed on, me and my friends. It's their little island, their little place in the world where you feel so many different things. So some people don't want to let go of their seat. The thought of someone else sitting in their seat is the worst thing for them, right? But hear me out.
Yeah, but
exactly.
The FA Cup games.
Exactly.
Because
I think no, but hear me out, because then it comes to the point where you can't go to a game like the FA Cup, and that's different. I can't go to that one. That's fine. But if you said to somebody, look, if you were to sell this seat back to us, you get, I don't know, a gift voucher for an overpriced sausage roll and a warm cup of coffee from the kiosk, then you might be more inclined to if you like sausage rolls that are slightly overpriced and a warm cup of coffee. Like you might. But if you get nothing for it, where's the carrot? You got the stick, but where's the carrot? Like, and I fully buy into this. We want a full stadium, of course we do. We want every seat filled, of course we do. Don't think it necessarily helps with the, it would help with the atmosphere, but we'll run with that argument as well. But I also just want to stick up for those that haven't perhaps got the voice and haven't got the opportunity to sit in a chair and talk to a webcam and speak to people across the internet. And this has to be fleshed out before it's presented, which it will do. We know that from the football club. That's how they operate. But when they bring it out, you've got to look like midweek games particularly. I'm just concerned that if you don't get the messaging right on the platform and how to use it, or make it easy for people that perhaps aren't online, which there are people that aren't online, midweek with no public transport and difficult to get to, because the council aren't making life any easier in terms of getting to the ground. 15 quid for a car parking ticket. I saw a traffic warden the other day driving around between the McDonald's, like Cardinal Park, and the ground where the double yellows are. Like, it's not easy at the moment. And I just think we need to work together. And I know Mark Ashton has said he will work with public transport. So we'll see where that goes and we'll see what's brought in. That's where I'm at the moment. I agree with it in the sense of bums on seats is what we want. Full stadium, tick, tick, tick. But you've got to get it right. You've got to get the criteria. And Sky and the rescheduling, like yesterday, for example, if that was a home game, that really sticks with me. It's really key that that's mentioned and brought forward and taken into account. But there we go. I wasn't expected to speak on that one, but you got me. You hooked me. You like the fisherman was here would call it a fishing trick. You hooked me. Hook, line, and sinker. And
I don't think it's right or wrong for anybody. I you can see it from both sides, but it's got to be transparent. It's got to be fair, and people have got to know the position. I would suggest that if they're going to start doing stuff like that will be in your terms of reference when you buy your season ticket. That's where it will be, and it will be in there, and people need to understand that. And I would imagine there will be a bit of leniency in the early parts. But if you're going to get if you paid, and I agree, Mike, if you've paid for your ticket, it's your money. But if they're going to offer you a refund pro rata, then that argument is gone because you're giving your money back.
Yeah. NPR 49 with $19.99 super sticker. Thank you very much, NPR. He also says, what a rant. I hope it wasn't that bad. I'll have to watch it back. I don't know what I said. I don't know how bad I went in. It's been gnawing at me, as Matt knows, I was like a little kid at Christmas. Matt, have you seen the video yet? Matt, have you watched the video yet? Matt, have you watched the video yet? I was like, no, I haven't seen it. I was like, come on, Matt, get on with it. I want to complain to you about it, but I can't do that until you watched it. But there we go. It's been a great show tonight. Thanks ever so much for joining me, gentlemen. Thank you for watching at home. Join us again, as I say, Monday at 8 p.m. when we look ahead to Blackburn, where hopefully we win our game in hand, sit fourth, and all the ills of yesterday can be forgotten. Last comment goes to Mabby, who says, can we have the same approach to players? If they don't turn up on the pitch, can we sell on and sub a fan on? Which one of us three do you want to sub on, Mabby? I'll let you answer that one as we close the show. Take care. God bless. You've reached the end. Thank you so much for watching. Hit here to subscribe. It's totally free. And hit here for more Talking Town videos. I'll see you on the next one.